The learning target 2B, we're going to turn these words into math. Okay, so into algebraic equations is your key. Don't worry about solving them. We're just going to get them into the equation. So the product of, whenever you see this product, hopefully you're thinking multiplication. Whenever you see this word and, it's telling you the two things that are being multiplied. So the product of a number and 10, so that would be 10x. So the product of a number and 10 is 10x. And then it's just a simple one to start, is 65. So we know that is means equals 65. Not too bad. Now when you go to this one, we got to be really careful. There's two things that could happen. You could be subtracting by a number, or the next over here in D is decreased from a number. Well, if I said to you right now to take 2 from 10, listen to that very carefully, 2 from 10, you would actually do 10 minus 2. But when I say, sorry, I'll write it this way, 2 from 10. Well, whatever's after the word from actually goes first, so we need to be careful. This first part isn't saying that, it's subtracted by. That's a different word there. So 14 subtracted by a number, so take away a number, results in 22. So we get equal to 22. Ratio here, hopefully you know that means division, but make it a fraction, it's a little bit cleaner, of a number, here it is again, and 12. So that tells me the two things I have to divide. The ratio of a number and 12 is 24. Triple a number. Take a number and triple it. Think about it. If I have $5 and I triple that number, what does it become? $15. So don't do this to it. Don't raise it to the third power. That's way too high. That's 5 times 5 times 5. If I want to triple any number, I literally take 3 and multiply it by that number. But then here it is, decreased from the number. The number is x, so I got to subtract 3x actually from the number. So listen as I watch my pen as I read this. Triple a number, decreased from the number. That's the key word, from the number x. So that x right here actually has to go out first. And then we say is negative 14. No need to simplify, we're just writing the equations and moving on. All right, here we go. Hopefully this is going to be okay. We're getting better at this. We got to notate each inequality. So pay close attention to how we finish these problems. That's the important part. Looking here, I have negative 6x is less than, and then I just got to try to solve this. I got 2x plus 8. I personally want to get all these x's to one side, leave the 8 alone, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Now I have negative 8x, which is less than 8 because these cancel. And then I'm going to divide by a negative 8 here. And then hopefully you're realizing that when we divide by a negative, we have to flip that sign. So that becomes greater than negative 1. Okay, so just keep remembering that when we actually take and divide, we flip the sign there. That's important or else we'll be headed in the wrong direction. So let's graph this one. Well, there's only one number on this one, so I'm going to put a negative 1 on my number line. And then this says I want my answers to be greater than negative 1. So that's over here. I want all the numbers that are bigger than negative 1. Well, then what do we do over here? Well, it's not or equal to, so remember that means a parenthesis. That means you get as close as you can to negative 1, but you cannot include negative 1. Remember, that's the same as you doing this in the past with the open circle. Parentheses, open circle is the same. Okay, now watch the interval notation. Very important, just interpret what's going on. Your interval notation tells me where all the answers are. We start at negative 1 without including negative 1, and we include every answer to the right all the way to infinity. And that's it. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. All right, part B here, we're going to multiply. I want to do everything I do to the middle to the sides. I'm trying to do work here to get x by itself in the middle. So watch this. I'm going to multiply by 2 over 1. Why? Because the 2's cancel when I do that. But I have to do that to the right, and I have to do that to the left. So this is going to become negative 20 less than or equal to negative 3x plus 1 less than 10. All right, still trying to get the x by itself. Now I have to subtract 1 from everything. So now I have negative 21 less than or equal to negative 3x less than 9. And then finally, I got to get the x by itself. I don't add. This is multiplication, so I divide everything by negative 3. Am I dividing by a negative right now? The answer is yes. So what happens? Again, I have to flip the signs. So I'm going to get all the way down to here, but the signs to me are kind of headed in a really goofy direction. okay? Because I'm going to do this left to right, but my small number's over here. So I'm going to give you a hint, take it or leave it. I personally like to rewrite this backwards. Negative 3 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 7. See how I just took it from this way and wrote it through back that way? Because that looks like a number line to me. Negative 3 is on the left, 7 is on the right. And what is this saying? This is saying I want all of my answers to be between negative 3 and 7, including 7. So that's all this stuff in here. And it's always going to be right in there for these types of problems, right? So negative 3 is a parenthesis, and then 7 has to be, a bracket because we're including that. And then the interval notation's easy, guys. Negative 3, comma, 7 with a bracket. All right? Moving along. Now we got our first one where it's an OR problem. So we're going to have two things going on. First of all, that looks beautiful. It's solved. This is not. So I'm going to subtract 4. Remember, there's two separate problems here. Don't try to do stuff to this side and that side. That makes no sense. It's two separate problems. So I have 13 minus 4, which is 9, less than negative 3x. And then I divide by negative 3. What do we do when we divide by a negative? Flip that sign. Really getting you to understand that and remember that. So we flip the sign, and then we have this. And again, I don't like looking at it like this, so I'm going to write it backwards. I'm going to write it as x is less than negative 3. That means a ton to me. Here's my negative 3. X values have to be less than that, so I'm going to do that there. And then I got to use a parenthesis on the negative 3. So what does this mean, interval notation? Oh my goodness, I forgot half the problem. Don't do that. Slow down, Powell. Okay, here we go. That part also has to be on our graph. There's a 9 over here, and we have to have a bracket and go forever that way. So we got two parts to our answer. The x's could be here, the x's could be there. So here we go. Left to right. Hopefully we're progressing here. The farthest left that this is interpreted as is negative infinity. And we do this all the way up to negative 3, parenthesis. Then we have a union, that means OR, and then we have bracket 9 all the way to the right, infinity. And there we are, negative infinity to negative 3, union 9 to positive infinity. Hopefully we're okay. All right, part D here, just want to throw another fraction at you because it's fun and we want practice. So if we look at all this, 7 over 1, 2 over 1, we have to multiply everything by 7 because that's our common denominator. All right, so hopefully we're getting a little more comfortable with those. The first part, 7 times 7, is legit just 49. Nothing cancels, but they cancel beautifully with the 7's in the middle term here. So I have minus, and all that's left is 3x. And then we have greater than or equal to 14. I'm switching colors because it's hurting my eyes. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to subtract 49. Again, I don't know how to do that. I can't get negative 35 real fast. Don't forget, all you literally do is go 14 minus, whoops, I guess you do it like this. 14 minus 49, enter. Okay, the calculator's telling me negative 35, so I'm going to say negative 3x. Do I flip the sign here? I'm going to let you think about it. Do I flip the sign here? I do not, because I'm not dividing by a negative. I'm just subtracting a number. So I have negative 35. Then I have to divide by negative 3. Okay, so do I flip the sign here? Absolutely, because I'm dividing by a negative. So now this becomes less than. And then let's just take our answer and divide by negative 3, see if we can actually simplify it. It looks like it's not going to be simplified. So we just have a 35 thirds, obviously positive because negative divided by a negative is positive. So there we are. Now, where's 35 thirds? That looks like a perfect spot for 35 thirds. Put it wherever you want. There's only one thing going on. We do have to have a bracket that's supposed to go right there through it, and then we go forever in this direction. So our interval notation would be left negative infinity all the way up to 35 thirds with a bracket. Okay, hope you're happy. Hope you're getting better by trying and watching these videos. You are getting better. You're making me happy. Nice job.